Hey friends! So today I want to talk about what I just made that's on my mind, and it is consommé. So my book will explain very well like what consommé is, how it's made. It's usually made with a stock, and stock is a very specific thing in terms of culinary language. So it is a clarified stock, and what that means is you are introducing a food ingredient that has albumin in it, which helps basically clarify the stock by pulling out the particles, pulling out the tiny little particles. Because if you see stock in a glass, if you put it in a glass and put it up to the light, what's making it cloudy is actually little specks of stuff. And those specks can range from bigger to tiny to the point that it just makes it look cloudy. So much like if you are swimming and you kick up the sand and all that sand is now in the water and you look down and you can't see your feet. It's the same thing, it's just little particles. So we want to pull out those little particles to clarify the stock, and albumin is used. Egg whites have a very high amount of albumin in them, as well as most vegetables, but traditionally what's used is leek. And if you don't have leek, usually use the green tops, save the whites for your for your dish. And or scallion, the tops of scallions, you could use those if you can't find leeks. Sometimes I cannot find leeks in the store here, so that's good to know. But I think consommé has this. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you how to make consommé. It's in the book, and there's no use in me telling you by words. It's something you've got to sit down with and read and all that. So anyway, why should you make it is what I want to say. Why should you make consommé? To you, does it have this connotation of kind of being either intimidating for one, or a bit outdated? Does it feel like, I don't know, something that used to be more popular? You would see it on menus more often, and now I feel like it's really only on fine dining menus. I don't know if fine dining is the way to say it, but a more expensive, luxurious meal, that type of restaurant might have that offered. Yeah, so to you, does it have that connotation of either being outdated or just seeming like a ridiculous thing to do because it might be too hard, right? So for the book, of course, I wanted to make it approachable. I wanted to provide some kind of incentive for making it. Why should you make it? And I think the reason to make it is when you see the stock clarified, like you have worked so hard to make your beautiful stock. When you see it clarified, when the egg whites are doing the work and you poke your little ladle in there and you see how crystal clear that broth is, there's no mistaking it. when you've got it clarified and it worked, there's no mistaking it. It is just so beautiful. It's such an amazing like food science thing that occurs in the pot, but it just looks so pleasing. And I just think, like, if you are the kind of person that is going to take the time to make stock, I encourage you to learn how to make the consommé. And like, I just made it today, and I made it with the tortellini and brodo, which is a tortellini served in a broth. And I just think it's so much better in consommé. Like, it doesn't have to be in a clarified broth the way that tortellini and brodo is served. It's not required to be, or it's not traditionally, like, by definition served in a clarified broth. But I don't know, have you ever made tortellini by hand? Have you ever rolled out sheets of pasta without a pasta machine? Have you ever sat there and formed all the little individual tortellini? And tortellini in the broth, the traditional ones, they're a lot smaller than the tortellini that you're used to seeing in the supermarket that you can buy like in the refrigerated section. Those are more like tortelloni. They're bigger, a lot bigger. True tortellini is smaller. So it's a painstaking process. And I just think of all the love that goes into making those, and then you're putting them into this cloudy broth, and it just, I don't know, it just diminishes something. Like, it still tastes wonderful, but just visually seeing the tortellini in the crystal clear broth is so beautiful. It's so special. And the thing is, clarifying that in the process that I have developed in the book is not that hard. It is not that hard. And here's the truth. Here's the true thing. Here's the true thing. I made consommé in culinary school. I think I maybe made it one time at home after that because I knew how to do it, and I had a fish broth or something I wanted to clarify. And I never made it after that. I just felt like it was a lot of work or something. I just never made it after that. So the way that we were taught in school was a bit more labor intensive. So I kind of thought of this way of doing it that's easier. And I did it about 5 times to recipe test. And to be honest with you, until I really understood what I was doing, 3 times out of the 5, it clarified, and the other 2 times it would not. Now, if it doesn't clarify, you can just strain it and start over. It doesn't mean that it's garbage. No. You could strain it and drink it cloudy, or you could, or serve it, use it as a cloudy stock. Or you could strain out the egg whites. There'll be all like little cooked bits of egg whites in there. Strain that out and try again. So nothing is lost if you don't succeed. That's my first caveat. And the other thing is, I was frustrated because I couldn't quite figure out what I had done differently when it didn't work. And I'm a perfectionist in the kitchen, in terms of doing things properly. Again, back to my technique. Not perfectionist in terms of everything has to be perfect and taste perfect and anything like that. It's just, I want to make sure I am doing something perfectly, like in the proper way. So clearly I thought I'm doing this properly, but I'm not getting the outcome. This is a problem. I can't put this in the book if it doesn't work for me. If it doesn't work for me, it might not work for you, and I'm wasting your time. And I'm not about that. These recipes are solid, okay? Because that's how I operate, first thing. And second thing is, there are a lot of cookbooks with recipes that don't work. And that is a waste of time. That is a waste of time. It shouldn't be like that. Anyway, so I figured out 2 little things that need to happen, and they are small things, but because I screwed up, it's why I can now tell you what not to do. And make sure you're doing these 2 things because they matter, okay? And it will give you success. So if you're listening to this and you have made the consommé, or you did try it with my recipe, I want to know what happened. I want to know, and I want to troubleshoot with you if it didn't work. And then in my next book or somewhere, I'm going to make that recipe even better and more foolproof for people. But I think that this, if you pay attention to what I say in the recipe, and I'm going to write in the head note what I did wrong so you don't do it. And yeah, it's just so easy. It takes 20 minutes, 25 minutes to make the consommé. Okay, in school, in culinary school, we took 3 hours to make it. So this is a different way of making it. It's quicker and it's less intimidating, and it's foolproof, I hope. So that's all for today, friends.